Hello everyone and welcome. Yes, my name is Arafire. Welcome back to, guess what, another episode of Look Out and Shout. But we're taking a break from Stunticons. Today we are reviewing a very large box of Magic Square MS-06 Tornado, their version of a G1 Vortex. Very much looking forward to this one. The images have been very good, very appetizing to look at, particularly the head sculpt. The box has a bit of a shadowy expression going on, but you see some nice artwork of Vortex in his robot mode. And on the back of the box, you get the nice riding into war silhouette shots that they have been doing. Unfortunately, my box was a little bit damaged in transit, but it also says if you are 0 to 3 years old, you're not going to be very happy. The reason why this box is so big is not only does it come with the figure itself, it comes with a very large torso piece. And there you go. That is Bruticus. That's what he's going to look like. It is half of him. And this is going to now attach on with this. So you would just stick it on there. But this is what we're dealing with. So we have a bit more of a blue frontage. Because, of course, Onslaught is blue. But Bruticus is predominantly grey. Head sculpt is very cool. I do like it if it comes across well enough on camera. Bit muted. Does look like there's going to be some batteries involved. But I haven't worked it out. It does look like there are some electrics inside when you look at it side on. The only thing I'd say, my kind of first impression of this, very gappy, very hollowy and very plasticky. Okay, there is a bit of weight here. It's going to be holding the figures as a shell, but it's very noticeable. Line up the 3 peg holes and you'll have something looking like this. So yeah, it's going to be good. I reckon this is going to be Titan size, Predaking, maybe MMC Defensor size, rather than anything bigger, but we will see. That's how it looks for now, but that's why the box is so large. Along with the figure and torso pieces comes the instructions and a collector's card. And you too can pick up your own copy of this figure from showzstore.com, where if you will be so kind, next time you make a pre-order and or purchase, you can use under the support your favourite reviewer code at the top of the homepage, the code of FIRE1, FYRE1. Any points that you generate on your account will automatically be shared to my own, which leads to such further reviews as this. Thank you everybody for all their ongoing support thus far. Okay, let's get on with the review, shall we? And here he is in his robot mode. Yep, that's captured the character beautifully. I was impressed when I looked at the photos of the figure on release, and I'm just as impressed now getting it in the flesh. I've transformed him now back from alt mode into robot mode again. There's a couple of bits I will just walk you through just to be a little careful of. Tolerances are good and everything snaps into place well here. Just a couple of things may be a little bit too secure and could give you some trouble. But broadly speaking, it's a very good figure. It looks more complicated to transform than it is, and if you've done it back and forward in quick succession, it will become quite easy and quite straightforward. It does feel a bit of an improvement on the set. I was quite a fan of Night Tracer, Onslaught that came before it, but I wasn't a fan of Swindle that came before that. So I feel we're back on the right track anyway. He does look really good for what is a very kind of dull colour scheme. The greys and the blacks, the red around the eyes really work. The accents of the blue really does a good job. And it's surprisingly clean for what it houses away and what parts of the helicopter are housed away. Let's get in for a closer look. And believe me when I tell you that visor is doing the work. It's so simple, yet it really captures it. Now, okay, why is there light piping? Why has he got that on the back of the head? It's not, it's painted, it's solid. So why would that even be there? But it just really has captured the essence of the character perfectly. Doesn't come with the Decepticon logo. I have put that on. I think that's a little bit wonky as well, just for good measure. He comes with his one gun. It's a nice gun. It's quite barrely, quite round. Little bit awkward plugging it in. The peg is quite shallow. And what seems to be a theme with this Magic Square set, rather than a groove all the way down the hand, there's just 2 individual pegs. I'm not too sure why there's 2 of all things. But if I show you on this hand, you might see more. The 2 pegs top and bottom of the circular pin. And so there's not an awful lot for him to plug into. But odd choice. But of course he has his ion cannons as well, which is quite nice. Give him kind of added fire effect, which is quite cool. Now before we go much further, I'll show you what I mean about the tabbing in bit. When all of this is cascaded out, and it looks a lot, but there is simplicity to it. You fold, I think it is this section in, and it pegs into these gaps. Now you might see somewhat the scratching mark. This particular peg, there's a rather thick tab that plugs into it and it hooks in. it's a little hard to get it back out again. So you might have to give it a bit of welly. You might have to use a tool or two to do so. But it's worth it in the end. I've transformed him back and had no issues in that sense. So he doesn't come with an alternative face, so no other accessories than what he's got on. So I'll show you some articulation. He's got that typical magic square looking all the way up. So you get him in a good looking up pose. That's quite cool, like that. All the way around, and can look down a little bit. He can even arch quite a way down, like he's trodden on something. That's a bit of a interesting one. It doesn't do the full magic square arch rotation, if you know what I mean. There is a waist tilt, or waist rotation, but there isn't, how can I put it? Like a double hinge, if you know what I mean. Shoulder articulation, all out on the friction. Friction forward, can go all the way around, but of course we'll bump into the helicopter blades. You've seen the waist rotation on a ratchet as well, which is nice. Fairly soft, this ratchet. Now, Magic Square seem to be doing this kind of rocker hinge around the side. It's okay, it's fine enough. You get that rotation forward, but then you have to cascade the joint all the way back. Tougher out on the side, but you do get a good side kick action. That's nice. 90-degree bend at the knee. I don't think it goes any further than that because you'll start to bump into the helicopter kibble. Not really an ankle tilt. I'm not going to class that as an ankle tilt. It's a toe rotation and a toe tilt, but then the rest of the leg stays stationary. That's the only thing that's a little bit of a shame with the figure. I didn't show the arm rotation actually, bicep rotation. He has got two hinges at the elbow, which is good. It's part of the transformation more so, but you will get a double bend, an over 90-degree bend. Wrist rotation, the thumb will bump into the pistol, and fingers are all extendable as well. They're all out on the ball joint, so you even get a little bit of fanning, which is nice. Doing his best John Cena impression. Overall, I'm very impressed. He's really got me by surprise as to how good he is, how everything cleans up well. For what is a fairly dull colour, dull character maybe. It's got a lot going for it. Everything's in the right place where it needs to be. Okay, on to some comparisons. With the leader of the set, here he is alongside Magic Square's Night Tracer, their version of Onslaught. This set is going to look so cool. I can't think of many people who are going to keep these combined up because individually they look on point. I'm very, very impressed. And okay, I would like a bit more die-cast, but they just stand so good to one another. I really do not have many complaints. I will have some complaints around this guy. Here he is alongside Magic Square's Munitioner, their version of Swindle. I am not a fan of this figure. I think I made that quite apparent in my review. Yeah, I'm surprised he's that much taller than him though. Okay, Swindle was quite a stumpy figure, but yeah, he's quite a bit taller than him shoulder to shoulder. That's an interesting one. And finishing off with Heavy Gunner, their Brawl. He just about is taller than him, and again that surprises me. I'm quite a fan of this figure. This possibly is still the standout of the set, but I do like Onslaught and I do like Vortex as well. They look quite cool together. And look how good this set is shaping up. They look brilliant together, don't they? They're just all going to look fabulous. And if Blastoff is going to be anything as good as these guys, I'm just going to have 5 Combaticons going around. They always look good as individuals. Yep, Starscream, I know, you'd be happy as well. Just to give you an idea how much he scales with the likes of the larger Masterpiece figures, this is a particularly large Starscream with deformation space. That is surprising how much closer he is. I don't think I knew Vortex to be that big, but yeah, I'm not against it. He stands quite tall. Go on then, why not? Here he is alongside Age of the Primes Vortex and the Hasbro Chug line. Completely different scale. It's not often you get 2 Vortexes, 2 Vortis in your collection at the same time, so I thought I'd show you anyway. Okay, let's get this guy transformed up, shall we? And there he is in his alt mode. Very sizable, very chunky, very nice. Quite an involved transformation, but clever. There was bits that didn't really fight you. I will say that I did this following a Bobby Skullface transformation video, and I would advise you do the same. Bobby did a good transformation step by step. I didn't use the instructions, particularly when I started to kind of fiddle around with it myself around the legs, which make up the front part here. I realised I was getting nowhere pretty quickly, so try and follow some videos if you can. Deceptively big size, really impressive. I'm, pleasantly surprised by it. It does maybe make me wary I guess that it's not going to be necessarily in keeping with the other figures. Now, full disclosure, I have not transformed up the other Magic Square bots, so we'll get a comparison when the combined video comes out where all figures are released. Now, I don't know if this is correct. I extended up the helicopter blades to try and get a bit of clearance so it wasn't catching the top of this. Now, as doing so, it kind of wobbles, as you can see, even when spinning. So if I fan it out properly, give it a good spin, see, it kind of goes janky at the end and then stops. Now, if you push it down, it doesn't do that, but then it can scuff the top of his engines a little bit. So I don't know what you're meant to do. I think I prefer the complete spin, but I'd expect there to be a bit of a clearance. The back spins just nicely, just fine. Yeah, it's really, really nice. I would have liked cell shaded windows. I just don't like the black windows. I think it looks a bit dead, but I guess it is quite in keeping with his colour scheme. And similar to what Bobby said in his review, it would have been cool to have some kind of detailing, like military vehicle detailing. Otherwise, it just looks a bit soap bar-like, and it can do. Now, this, again, I'm not sure of. That's the underside. It cleans up pretty well. That's his face. Hello. Now, I think you're supposed to turn it to one side or not. I don't think it really matters. I'm not certain this panel is supposed to go here. If not, it just folds up to that point. But I thought, well, there's this gap, and what else do you do? Also, speaking of gaps, that's a bit of a shame. Would have liked some kind of panel closure there, but all you're doing is sitting the rear engines over just to block it off. That's nitpicky stuff. There's his arm cannons. I should have pointed that out. So he is wearing a lot of his guns. They're his arm blasters that peg onto the side. They are a bit stiff to get on there, I will say that. And that's the front of his blaster put in there before you collapse up the nose cone. However, that leaves the rest of the blaster. And I'm really not sure what you're supposed to do with this, where it's supposed to go. Whether there's internal storage between the legs and it rattles around, we'll wait and see. But I like it, I really do. I'm pleasantly surprised. I think if you got Movie Blackout, the Wei Zhang, or even Masterpiece Movie, then yeah, this is going to look really cool alongside it. It's got a big military feel to it. Kind of a 2007 Blackout, then say Blades is probably where this figure belongs. Okay, on to some comparisons. A more recent review of Fans Toys Spoiler, their version of G1 Breakdown. Different comparisons, but isn't this quite telling? He's going to make up a leg. Well, it's a faux leg, isn't it? It's a shin pad. And Vortex is going to make up an arm. I think this is why the size is going to be what it's going to be, particularly when it's compared up to the torso bot. It's a hard comparison to do anything against. What are you going to compare to him arm-wise? It's really still confusing as to what size this combine is going to be. I think a little over 15 inches. You'll put it up there with MMC's Defense Saw, but also maybe Titan scale Predaking from Combiner Wars or Power of the Primes. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but that's how these two look together. To go with another Fans Toys comparison alongside Jabba, their Blur, and that's not a small figure, so it shows you what we're dealing with. Quite impressive, really. You can't really compare land and sea, or land and air, I should say. But yeah, that's how they look. And I don't know how this goes comparing alongside a Hasbro Chug scale, but here he is alongside Age of the Prime Silverbolt in his super combined form. Still gives Silverbolt a run for his money. This really is large. Quite impressive when you look at that. He's alongside a super steroided up Concorde. Who knew? Yeah, it's good. It's really impressive. And so you can see what we're dealing with. Yep, this is going to be very large, very big, very impressive. Going to be quite interested, even though I'm going to keep these guys in their individual modes. I'm going to be quite interested to see how it's going to look when it's all done. So what is my view on Hurricane Helms? I really was quite surprised when it was all transformed up, because I already like the robot mode. From looking at it in production shots, it really got my attention. I wasn't sure how the alt mode was going to be, and I'm very, very impressed. It's very chunky. It has quite movie Blackout vibes, which I do actually have the Wei Zhang version of that. I haven't transformed it, but that would have been a good comparison to do. Maybe I'll put up some photos of that in the day to come. I'm not saying I've done everything absolutely right. As I said, I don't know if that's how his head's supposed to be stored, or if you're supposed to turn his head, but then there's kind of a bit of a gap you can use. I don't know, it breaks an image, and it's a shame there is that ever so slightly unsightly gap at the back of the engines, but it kind of just puts the engines in place to cover it up rather than a panel closure. But that's probably all I can say. Maybe the rear wheel's a bit low lying. Bobby Skullface did a very good transformation video for this, so I do recommend you check that out as well if you need a bit of help. It was quite fun. The legs are complicated and it could be a bit iffy transforming it back, but I can't say I hated it. It was clever and it was involved, but I do really like what it was. It wasn't frustrating. That's the best thing. If you've got instructional videos such as Bobby's to go through, then you'll be fine. Only thing that's a minor annoyance is the front of his gun is on the front of the helicopter. The rest of the barrel can't really live anywhere, I don't think. Now, I think you can, if you open up his legs, you can store it somewhere rattling around beneath there. At least I did see an image to that effect. Then it would be rattling every time you pick it up. So I don't know if that's a way to do it. I don't know where else it could go other than living in a box. That's if you want to keep it in this mode. But this will definitely be one of the larger of the sets. But this guy is going to be bigger than Brawl in his tank mode or Swindle in his Jeep mode. And okay, that's possibly right, but he's either going to give Onslaught a run for his money. Would he even be able to fit on the back of it? Maybe. He might dip. Again, it's something that I'll save for the combined video. But when I got it in hand, I thought, that's really impressive. That's really sizable. And yes, it looks like an attack helicopter. But wow, that's big. And it's going to dwarf the other figures. What's Blastoff going to look like in comparison to this? The articulation for robot mode is maybe not as good as I had hoped. It's still very good, but it's not got the absolute hyper articulation that Brawl had. I don't think Magic Square or even Magic Square's fans realised just how much they nailed that first release. Brawl was so good. Their heavy gunner was really good. Swindle was not. Onslaught got better. But this doesn't have maybe quite the articulation that Onslaught and Brawl did. Not by an awful lot that it's missing off, but maybe not the absolute same. Do I think anyone could do it better? I'd like to see what a Fans Toys could do. It obviously doesn't carry that die-cast weight, even though it doesn't feel light particularly around the front. It's very dense and heavy. But it doesn't carry, none of this set carries a die-cast that Fans Toys would put into their product. So I'd like to see that a bit more. Could X-Transbots do better? Maybe, maybe not. I think it's a good representation. I'm just pleasantly surprised at the size of it. But based on this, I give this guy 4.5 for the Star badges. I was pleasantly surprised. The transformation was involved but clever. The articulation is good enough. The presentation in robot mode is very good as well. And okay, for the price, you are getting a figure, but you're also getting a hunking torso along with it as well. And there we go. That is my review of Magic Square's MS-06 Tornado, their version of a G1 Vortex. I'll put some photos up at the end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and hit that subscribe button because I will see you on the next one.